As you guys know, there has been a lot of controversy about Pokemon Sword and Shield, so I guess the reviews are kind of to be expected. I mean, looking at the like and dislike ratios, it's right down the middle. So I think we should just get straight into the problems and just punch into it. What do you say, Conrad?
Well, the thing about Pokemon Sword and Shield is that it is by no doubt the biggest release on a Nintendo system or on the Switch this year. And by the level of hype, build-up, ambition, I think this is going to be one of the most divisive and also controversial experiences this year. And the best way to describe it is that it's going to be a good game, but not necessarily a very good Pokemon experience. And there's a number of reasons for that. The number one being the problem with the National Dex, which has been greatly cut down all across the board. We're not going to go into the specific Pokemon that have been cut, but like we're talking about a Thanos snap in the Pokemon National Dex, and that is very, very serious. Then we have the problems with graphics and animations that do not really meet 2019 standards when it comes to console and HD games, which is something that many have also criticized. And then I think it's also a matter of horrible PR and communication on the part of the Pokemon Company and Game Freak. An example, and we're also going to return to it at the end of the video, is that this is the Skyward Sword moment of Pokemon, where some people will love it for what the game is and is trying to accomplish, and on the other side you have all the people that hate how much has been sacrificed in order to deliver on these new mechanics. And that's the problem. They give and take, and that's what is the thing about this game. I think we could just begin with the National Dex situation, and I've already been able to point it out. It's like a Thanos snap.
The reason it's a big deal is because it fundamentally goes against what Pokemon is about. It is that you can take the Pokemon that you connect with you through the various adventures. And it's kind of an emotional argument, but it's also a game mechanic one as well, because it's going to be changing the things like meta competitiveness as well. I think in general, with any game, this isn't just about Pokemon, if you make good steps, you don't go back on them. And Pokemon is great because it has so many cool Pokemon that people love. Like, even the random ones like people don't like Garbodor. Someone out there likes that Pokemon, and it's important to have that in the game for that one person. Pokemon's a very personal experience. Your team is totally yours. You don't usually see similar type teams. It's kind of hard to explain. I feel like emotionally connected to some of my Pokemon. I know that sounds weird because I'm in my early 20s. I'm too old for that, right? But they can't remove Pokemon, and I think the reason I have warmed up to what Master has been saying in regards to balancing and competitiveness, but that's not. If it wasn't as many Pokemon, I wouldn't be as fussed. But they've taken out. It's like you say, Conrad.
Yeah, it's almost
Thanos
half.
Snap.
It's
Thanos
almost
Snap. All of them.
50%.
Half of them.
And some of them are like starters and stuff, and that is just that is mostly very often the Pokemon you're very closely attached to, and that really hurts. Like if it's one of the many Pokemon that come later on in the games, people would care less. But when it is a Pokemon that you get attachment to from the beginning of previous generations, that really hurts. And I have to say this as it is, and that is that Pokemon has always had one catchphrase: "Gotta catch them all." It's pretty much the catchphrase of catchphrases for the franchise, and going against it goes against what the DNA of Pokemon is, the spirit of it, and obviously Pokemon Sword and Shield adds so much more, like the whole max raid battles, the gym stadiums, the wild area. And on one side, you will on one side, this game is so much more than previous Pokemon games, but on the other side, it just lacks the soul of what Pokemon is supposed to be, namely an adventure where you catch first battle, then catch and befriend Pokemon.
This game has some brilliant improvements to Pokemon. We're not going to lie about that. It has some great improvements. Things we've want, the gyms have been greatly expanded. There's so many new features, things like that. But the problem is, Comrade, they've messed with the core of the game, and you can't mess with a core of any series unless it's a spin-off. Like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, no one cares.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I disagree with
the
likes of GameSpot and IGN, and more drift into the direction of GameXplain, and that is, you can't give a game that takes away so much a 93 or a 90 in score.
No
way. On one side, there are improvements, but even the improvements have their criticisms. And when even the improvements have criticisms, there is no way to justify a score out of 9 out of 10. Like, we're talking about a very well-polished game that has little to no problems at that point when you rank them, especially IGN's example of 93 out of 100.
Yeah.
And that is something that, in my opinion, we already see the backlash. Just look at the likes versus dislike ratio on their reviews.
It's right down the middle.
Exactly.
Right down the middle.
It's people know what these games are. They know what has been sacrificed and what has been gained. And a good way of pointing it out is that, yes, I'm losing all this area here, but I'm getting this area instead. But does it replace what I lost just? And I feel like...
Yeah, do the ends justify the means? That's what it
and I feel like
to.
This is not a situation we should have had with the first Pokemon entry on a console. But I think the philosophy of Game Freak in this regard is very simple. They are going to cater to new fans, the Pokemon Let's Go fans that came in and played their first Pokemon game either forever or in a very long time when they play Pokemon Let's Go. And we can also see on the sales numbers, they are basing on this number of people that went in and bought Pokemon Let's Go. So that is one thing. The other thing is the problem with graphics and the graphical fidelity, the pop-in. Like, there are a ton of technical issues with this game that I feel like many have completely ignored. And we have seen this already since the E3 demos. We have seen it in later demos and gameplay sessions, and we have recently also seen it even in reviews. And that is just a sign that, okay, if you didn't patch this game in time for reviews, you're not going to patch these technical fidelities.
No, I think you've pretty much said everything I wanted to say there. But if they honestly, some people had a point when they said that the game doesn't look right in tech demos. You know what I mean? Like, fair enough, it's a tech demo, but the release game has come out now. We've seen it in reviews, we've seen footage, and it's still subpar. And you know that meme? It's not as bad as the meme about the Zelda Majora's Mask Ocarina of Time era level of trees. You know what I mean? It's not that bad. It's not N64 level, but there's a lot of problems.
And in this regard, I have to say that we have, in many ways, a Skyward Sword situation. Skyward Sword, for anyone that is unaware or not a big Zelda fan, is the most divisive game in the entire Zelda franchise. Some people adore it, other people absolutely hate it. And that is because that game sacrificed exploration and kind of open world environments in favor of good storytelling and backtracking. And this is something that greatly pissed off people with a massive gimmick in motion controls put on top that worked for some and didn't work for others. And I have a feeling that we are facing a similar situation with Pokemon Sword and Shield. There are things that we're going to absolutely love and think that need to stay forever in the Pokemon franchise after Pokemon Sword and Shield, but there are also things that we feel that were unnecessarily sacrificed, and which could have made the game better in every regard, not only Pokemon, but also in terms of the world, environments, and so on. And that's where people bring up the question, maybe the game should have been delayed to 2020, polished it, add more content to, say, the wild area or some other places where the game doesn't shine as much as it should have based on the level of ambition that Game Freak has put into it. And that is I think the best way to summarize the whole situation is that it is a missed opportunity. this game is not going to leave a mark for the Pokemon franchise as Breath of the Wild or Super Mario Odyssey or even Fire Emblem Three Houses did as the first Switch big HD console entrance.
For the first mainline Pokemon game, I think everyone, regardless of whether you're a mega fan, a casual fan, or just a little kid, had bigger expectations than this. And it's not even exclusive to this game, because it has ramifications for the future of the Pokemon series. I mean, are Pokemon going to be removed in future games? And
Masuda has been hinting on it, right? That we're not getting the National Dex back in future Pokemon games.
That's scary. That's really bad for the series. I'm not even going to take the middle of the road. That's a bad decision, and that will damage the franchise. A lot of people tend to think that criticism of this game is hating, but it's not. It's loving. We love Pokemon, don't we, Conrad? And we want to make sure that the games are the best they can be. But when they make decisions like this, you got to speak up, and you can't just let it go down a weird path. Well, anyways, I think we've made our point in regards to this. Otherwise, we're just going to keep rambling.
But this is going to be a game where we will love a ton, and we're going to hate a ton. And unfortunately, that is the situation with this game. We hope we would be able to avoid it, but this is going to be a divisive experience no matter what. Some of you will absolutely love it, but it's based on what you expect from the game. If you want an open world-ish game experience with turn-based combat and exploration, you're gonna love this game. But if you are a Pokemon fan and are not coming into this as your first Pokemon game, you will miss features. And this is something that we can't ignore. And that's also, I think, the genesis of this whole great controversy when it comes to the game. There's a lot of things to love and hate about this game, and I think we will not be able to determine it right here, right now. We'll be reviewing the game completely next week.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you guys watching. Let us know what you guys feel in the comments, and please just remember, we don't need hostility. Let's keep it calm, rational, and civil. Okay?
Sounds good. And whether you love or hate the game, we'll know it very soon. And make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as many more Pokemon videos are coming in the next few days and weeks. Thank you to all our patrons once again, and we hope you all enjoy Pokemon Sword and Shield in your own way.